Good afternoon and welcome back to the Papanui Club in Christchurch as we get underway in the final of the women's singles at the Summerset National Singles and Pairs here in Christchurch. Jo Edwards, a two-time champion in this event, up against Caitlin Inch, fresh from winning the women's pairs title this morning. I'm Brenton Van Nistelrooy. With me in commentary is Kevin Hickland. It's a very good afternoon, Kevin, as we're straight into the action on the first end in this race to 21, and Caitlin Inch, a bowl close straight from the outset.
Yes, good afternoon, Brenton, and this certainly is a final that we've been looking forward to. Of course, it's a repeat of the final that we had in Dunedin a couple of years ago when Jo Edwards played Caitlin Inch in the final. But of course, we've now seen Caitlin Inch now a true international player, and will no doubt form part of the blackjack side, and has certainly come of age as a leading player, winning Queensland titles, and up against, without any shadow of doubt, Jo Edwards, the #1 women's player in the world. And look, we could talk forever about what Jo Edwards has done and won and everything else, but you know, of course, of recent times, the Commonwealth Games gold medalist on the Gold Coast in 2018, and certainly these are, let's say, two of the best that we've got in action.
Oh, certainly in this country, if not the world. I mean, yeah, include Jo Edwards, who is the world #1, and the world #1 for a reason as well. Wearing the Inogra Eagles colours, her new club in Brisbane. Caitlin Inch also playing out of Queensland, playing for the Broadbeach Club, Broadbeach Bulls on the Gold Coast.
So the opening end, and we're seeing Caitlin Inch holding a couple of shots in the race to 21.
You can see a good crowd in attendance as well from that previous shot. Got a lot in anticipation. Keen to see how this one plays out.
So a couple of shots at the present held by Caitlin Inch in this, the very first end, as Jo Edwards moves away back towards the mat and play down, no doubt, on the backhand to try and reach what is the counting bowls of Caitlin Inch. And you can be rest assured, all you viewers there, that you're certainly going to see a magnificent final between these two true international players. As we watch the Jo Edwards bowl breaking down towards the head, trying to get to the shop bowl or the jack, and no, it's going to fall low of the jack.
So Caitlin Inch, a chance to make it a good start to this contest.
Caitlin Inch, good start for sure. In this race to 21, wearing the Oxford tracksuit top, and as Brendan said, Jo Edwards in the Inogra shirt, and Premier League of who she'll be playing for, along with, in the same side, Gary Lawson and Krista Lee, also playing for Inogra this year in the Queensland Premier League. And this well-bowled Caitlin Inch is now breaking down towards the head. Is it going to sit on her own bowl or go past, rests and just slides by? So the lollipop lady will indicate quickly to us, I imagine, what the story is.
Yeah, going to be a measure though, so it didn't look as clear cut as it looked on our screens as far as the camera angle went, whether it is Caitlin Inch or not. It is 1-2, Caitlin Inch, so on the board first in this women's singles final here at the Summerset National Singles and Pairs at Papanui Club in Christchurch. Caitlin Inch trying to do the double after winning the pairs this morning, is leading Jo Edwards, the two-time defending Commonwealth Games champion 1-0, and that, of course, race to 21. We also have a men's singles semi-final taking place at the same time, which we'll endeavour to keep you up to date with. Dean Elgar taking on Andrew Kelly. In that race to 21, it's Dean Elgar leading 1-0 in the men's singles semi-final. That's for the right to play Ryan Burnett, Caitlin Inch's partner, and the other Broadbeach player in the final of the men's singles, which is to follow this women's singles contest. Both these players making it through to this stage in convincing fashion. Caitlin Inch beating fellow blackjack Wendy Jensen 21-2 in her semi-final. Jo Edwards beating former blackjack Serena Matthews 21-4 in hers. Caitlin Inch, much tighter tussle in her quarter-final. Taylor Bruce beating her 21-19, while Jo Edwards beat Diane Patterson of the Wanganui Club 21-9 in her quarter-final. But no doubt these are the two supreme singles players. That's why they've got to this stage. And very much looking to see how this contest unfolds over the next couple of hours, Kevin.
Yeah, well, they'll certainly, it'll take just a couple of ends to get the feel and line of the green. But, you know, you and I have both seen on a number of occasions representing New Zealand, both Jo Edwards and Caitlin Inch. And we certainly know, had the pleasure, of course, and been at the Asia Pacific Games, and we saw Jo Edwards there after losing an early match in the section play, really bounce back, and a superb performance by the New Zealand player. And Caitlin Inch, of course, moved into the skipping role at the Trans-Tasman and the Multi-Nations event as we watch her second bowl now sit alongside the jack, just in front on the jack line. And the lollipop lady, fantastic marking to us now, indicating it's 1 to Caitlin Inch.
Yeah, Caitlin Inch, renowned obviously in the blackjacks environment as a player in the triples and fours, but wanted to show that she's much more than that. She's claimed her first national title this morning, if you have just caught up, winning the Peers with Selena Goddard, defeating Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce in the Peers final this morning at the Papanui Club. Now looking to do the double, and what a way to do it if you can overcome the very best, arguably the best New Zealand's ever produced in Jo Edwards, playing almost 650 games for New Zealand.
Talking to Caitlin Inch after the match, she was delighted to have, she's been close a couple of times, and she was delighted to get that first national title. As we see her draw up another bowl just in behind the head, and 2 shots as indicated by our marker. Let's watch Jo Edwards.
Very deliberate on the mat, Jo Edwards. Usually looks straight down, and she looks down immediately. That usually means that she's a chance of being right in the area. This one's just going to slide by. So should be, I think, a couple more for
That was what
Caitlin
was
Inch.
indicated.
And that's the lollipops go up. So 3-0. Caitlin Inch now leading Jo Edwards in this race to 21.
Yeah, it is, I think.
Women's singles final here at the Summerset Nationals in Christchurch. This is the final day of the tournament. And spanning a whole week. Started on the 2nd of January. Now a week later, we're reaching the business end. Already handed out 2 titles in the men's and women's pairs. We mentioned Caitlin Inch and Selena Goddard picking up that women's pairs title, but in the men's, Andrew Kelly and Richard Hocking went down to Ray Martin and Robbie Bennett. So Ray Martin and Robbie Bennett champions for the first time together in the men's pairs. Big congratulations to them. And like it was for Caitlin Inch, a breakthrough national title for Ray Martin after a couple of near misses.
So Jo Edwards now has the chance to get her first bolt right on the jack, because Caitlin Inch fell short with her first, and Julie obliges, does Jo Edwards, gets a touch on the jack, sits alongside it, and she'll be happy to get this head underway with it.
Good mate Val Smith watching on as well. Val Smith and her pairs partner Lisa Prideaux amongst those in attendance. A great crowd, and for what should be a great contest between these two leading lights. Obviously you've got Jo Edwards, who's been at the top of her game for a long time now, and Caitlin Inch, undoubtedly a rising star of the world game. Picked up her first national title this morning, and certainly is hungry for more.
The Jo Edwards bowl, see that big arc, big drawing bowl that Jo Edwards has, certainly. And our marker, Pauline Seaton, indicates that it's the one. So here's now Caitlin Inch on her forehand, playing down towards the Papanui club end. Good crowd in here now, assembling as we get through these finals. Just going to get to the jack, is it? No, just slides by the jack. We'll see what the marker has to say there, and that in fact is the shot, that bolt of Caitlin Inch.
Yeah, not far away from getting a toucher there, Caitlin Inch. She started very well, putting the pressure on the two-time defending Commonwealth Games champion. Jo Edwards takes a bit of direction from the marker before she plays her third.
Checking, asking where the bowl's situated, which in fact is sitting jack level. So Jo Edwards will try and get down, play to that bowl to turn it through the head. Not to be, goes past. There's some wee bit of weight. So we've got now Caitlin Inch leading 3-0 in the race to 21, and delivered out on the wide side, and there'll be no change to the head with that bowl.
And the men's singles semi-final, which is taking place at the same time over on rink number 6. We're playing on rink number 1 here, TV rink. Dean Elgar taking on Andrew Kelly. It's 1-1 in that race to 21 for the right to play Ryan Burnett in the final later today.
So here is now Jo Edwards, one down on the head, playing on her backhand, playing down towards the Papanui club end. Certainly tightened her line this time as it breaks down towards the head now, trying to get contact onto the bowl, just going to run underneath it. Certainly had the weight to reach the bowl, turn it through the head, but just went by. 1-2.
A bit of a discussion here between the marker and Caitlin Inch, and then Jo Edwards. Not quite sure exactly what about, but confirmation. One more to Caitlin Inch's score. So 4-0. She now leads Jo Edwards. Well, couldn't have asked for a much better start for Caitlin Inch. Help settle if there were any nerves. Don't know, she would have got too nervous, just that maybe the occasion of playing such a great of the game and Jo Edwards perhaps. Likewise, we know Jo Edwards won't quit. She's going to make Caitlin Inch earn every single one of these shots in this game.
Well, Brendan, you and I happened to be on the Gold Coast when we saw that game of Jo Edwards when she was, I was asked recently about really top games that I've seen, and the game although it wasn't a win for Joe Edwards, the comeback against Kelsey Cottrell went down, I don't know, was it 19-3 or something, and all but won the game. Was virtually only one bowl away from winning. Made a remarkable recovery to get back against the Australian players. So Joe Edwards, we know, is more than capable of catching up. She's not going to worry about the scoreboard. She'll just get on, do a job.
And that's why she's so good, isn't it? Because she's so relentless, Joe Edwards. Yeah, as you're about to mention, getting that one nice and close, pretty much jack level. Good round of applause here from the knowledgeable crowd at Papanui Club. There's a good gallery now in attendance for this match, as there should be.
Caitlin Inch, she's equal to the occasion and draws just in front of the jack. Joe Edwards asking how far away that bowl is. The blue bowl of Caitlin Inch. You can see around as the camera moves around, very good crowd assembled around right around the whole green area here at the Papanui Club. Headquarters, of course, for the Summerset Nationals on this our last day, the finals day. Joe Edwards trying to get to the jack with a bowl. Just slipped by.
You can't quite believe she missed out there. Managed to find her way through that door, but not able to quite find the target of the jack.
A 1 to Caitlin Inch at this stage, as indicated by the marker. Pauline Seaton is again Taylor. Caitlin Inch playing down, just going to go under the head, might cut that vision line off for Joe Edwards to play again. So we're now seeing it is Joe Edwards now having to move to her backhand. The bowl of Caitlin Inch just in the line to get down to the bowl or jack, as we watch Joe Edwards' third bowl breaking down towards the head, and look at that. That's the sign of what this lady can do. Got a touch on the jack, just drew round the Caitlin Inch front bowl.
Yeah, wonderfully executed there. We'll wait and see if lollipops go up and Joe Edwards' favour now. They do. So while I don't think that bowl, which is the toucher, is the shot, she certainly glanced that jack towards one of her bowls to now hold shot and now force Caitlin Inch to try and beat that. That was a great bowl, very fine margin. That was pretty much, excuse the pun, inch perfect by
certainly was,
Joe Edwards.
And Caitlin Inch trying to play down on her backhand to get to where the Joe Edwards bowl is, and this is a pretty good response. This, if she gets onto her own bowl, turns it over, and did touch the bowl and fell out, and just wait for our marker to indicate, because it did sit inside the head, but still 1-2.
Joe Edwards, but Joe Edwards wants to come and have a look at proceedings here. So she saw the lollipop go up in her favour, but wants to see what the situation is. See if there's a way she might be able to add a second. It's a pretty tight head.
This is a very tight head.
One bowl out here to the right, everything else pretty tight cluster apart from one up top.
And if Joe Edwards is confident we've got the shot, they change the hand, that forehand side, with Caitlin Inch leading 4-1 in this, the final of the Summerset National Women's Singles, and of course also underway on the far side on ring 6 is the men's semi-final. Andrew Kelly up against Dean Elgar, and we'll keep you up to date with the score of that match.
So that should be Joe Edwards on the board. First time in this women's singles final. So it's now Caitlin Inch leading Joe Edwards 4-1 in this first to 21 matchup. Women's singles final here at the Summerset Nationals, Papanui Club in Christchurch. Great crowd in attendance for what should be a great contest between these two blackjacks. One very much in the early years of her career in Caitlin Inch, although fast approaching 150 internationals. One has done pretty much everything in the world of bowls. Jo Edwards, almost 650 games for New Zealand, more than anyone else.
So here's the opening bowl of Jo Edwards, which is going to drop low under the jack and short and just move away under the head. So Caitlin Inch play down on her forehand down towards the Papanui Club, the road end. 4-1 to Caitlin Inch after, of course, earlier Caitlin Inch and her partner Selena Goddard defeating Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra in the final of the women's pairs, and were quite convincing really in their win. So here now is Jo Edwards playing her second bowl on that forehand side, just endeavouring to get past the bowl of Caitlin Inch, and the big advantage in these situations that Jo Edwards has is the bowls that she uses are very, very good drawing bowls, as we see, just draws in front of the jack, and her bowls have got the model of bowl that she uses certainly gives her a fantastic arc of the bowl in the draw of that last metre, as that was a great example of it just then, as it drew around the Caitlin Inch bowl and drew right back to the centre line, which highlights both her ability and the drawing bowls of Jo Edwards. I'm sure she'll continue and play down that line on her forehand.
Marker indicating that Jo Edwards is holding just the one, so the one which is pretty much right on the jack, on that centre line. The previous bowl is the shot bowl. Can she add to the count here and bring those bowls, as Kevin Hicklin mentioned, the big drawing bowls back to the centre line? This might just cut inside the Caitlin Inch bowl. She's not overly happy with that one, but it is enough for a second shot, I believe. It is.
It's two shots, and again, didn't quite get back to the centre line, but certainly. And I'll say the problem for Caitlin Inch is where her short bowl is located, and with the bowl that she uses, with Caitlin uses, her ability to be able to draw round to the centre line, which Jo Edwards is able to do. A tighter line bowl that Caitlin Inch uses.
So that Inch bowl, a third of hers, is good enough for the second shot, as indicated by our marker. So Jo Edwards holding one as she prepares to play her final bowl of this end. Again, we'll try and draw it back on that forehand side.
Coming under to the jack line and pushes the bowl over, and we might see an attack here from Caitlin Inch.
She can see the jack now. She couldn't see it before.
Maybe I'll see an attack to the jack or the two Jo Edwards bowls. Definitely two shots that Jo Edwards is holding. Here's Caitlin Inch on her forehand, reaching down with weight, as we thought would be the case, trying to get down to the jack or the bowls as it breaks down towards the jack. Now it's close to getting the jack and gets it clean, and we'll leave it to the markers or the players to decide, because there's a Jo Edwards bowl back there and a Caitlin Inch bowl back there, and out comes the measure.
Jo Edwards will do the honours. It's going to be between these two bowls on the left-hand side of the screen. First the blue bowl they'll go to of Caitlin Inch, and then across to this black bowl of Jo Edwards.
Well-controlled weighted bowl though from Caitlin Inch. Then it was to get down to the jack, and hello.
more of a discussion on the marker. As it is Caitlin Inch who has earned the shot, so I'm not quite sure what these post-end discussions are with the marker. They've had a couple now playing towards that end, so now another one to Caitlin Inch, 5-1. She now leads Jo Edwards in this first to 21 matchup, women's singles final, the Summerset National Singles and Pairs at the Papanui Club in Christchurch.
Very good weighted bowl. That weight played by Caitlin Inch was certainly well controlled. As we watch this first bowl coming up towards us here in the commentary position, 5-1 is the lead to Caitlin Inch, and this is a good opening bowl by the 24-year-old. Draws black cap number 56.
Yeah, less than half the age of Jo Edwards. Got a big future ahead of her, Caitlin Inch. There's no doubt about that. Jo Edwards, though, she's not done yet, that's for sure. She's very motivated going into the World Bowls Championships this year. What's that World Championship gold to go with her Commonwealth Games golds in the singles?
So just coming up slightly short was Jo Edwards. Of course, the World Singles Champion. The last two World events being that of Karen Murphy, the Australian, who won in Christchurch, of course, but will not be there this year for representing Australia with her retirement just been recently announced. There'll be a new singles player for Australia.
And the way Jo Edwards went on those greens not only last year at the Asia Pacific Championships, but at those Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, she will certainly fancy herself and should be one of, if not the favourite for gold at those World Championships. This one, unfortunately for Jo Edwards, is going to get a touch on the Caitlin Inch bowl, knock it over and slide by. Same situation remains. Inch holding shot.
Just rolled the bowl just onto the jack. That does allow Jo Edwards, of course, to be able to attack with some weight, because it's a straight line to the centre line where that's sitting, and I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but Caitlin Inch straight away going to the back, because I'm sure we'll see Jo Edwards using some weight to reach the shot bowl, which is sitting virtually, playing with weight to get a turn onto the bowl for sure. Looks at it, watching it closely as it breaks in towards the head. Going to get right down to the jack. Is it going to get that touch on the jack that she was after? And yes, it was. It's what, as we said, Brendan, that was the shot that was, you know, that straightened the line up, and the class of Jo Edwards just got that nice touch on the jack.
Yeah, these fine margins again, and we saw it playing this way towards our commentary in the last time round. Somehow found her way to the jack again. It had to be absolutely to perfection, and it was, as we come to expect with Jo Edwards. So now from being down one, potentially two, now Jo Edwards holding a couple. And Caitlin Inch all to do with her fourth and final bowl of the end.
Which we'll see Caitlin Inch now change to her forehand, playing up towards us here, and the jack slightly moved off the centre line, but virtually on the 2 metre mark as we watch the blue bowl of Caitlin Inch now breaking its way down towards the head. Is it going to come back all the way? Not sure it will. The marker, Pauline Seaton, will confirm to us that it is 2 to Jo Edwards. So a great chance here to make 3 of it. New Zealand singles player on its way, and certainly got a different line to the Caitlin Inch bowl, certainly in the line to get into the scoring area as it now breaks down towards the head, and here it comes, the third shot without any shadow of doubt, sits right in behind the jack.
A big end that for Joe Edwards as the lollipops go up, 3 of them in Joe Edwards' favour. So now that inch lead cut from 4 to 1. It's Caitlin Inch leading Joe Edwards 5-4 now, 5-4 in the race to 21.
It's interesting, Brendan, was seeing Joe Edwards with the jack just reduced, just shortened up the jack length slightly. The mat back sitting in the 2 metre mark, so we're definitely playing a shorter length head than what we have been playing previously, as we watch now Joe Edwards trailing 5-4 all the way on the forehand, playing down towards the Papanui club end. As we watch the bowl of Edwards break towards the jack, just gets a slight touch on the jack, moves by about a metre, but well, good opening bowl.
Yeah, the men's singles semi-final in progress as well during this women's singles final. That being the contest between the 2017 champion Dean Elgar up against Andrew Kelly, who played in the men's pairs final and lost earlier today. And it is Andrew Kelly who is leading 5-1 in that race to 21. That's for the right to play Ryan Burnett, the Scotsman, in this afternoon's final, which will follow this contest, and we will broadcast that for you as well.
So, second bowl now of Joe Edwards on her forehand. Breaking towards the head now. Gonna come all the way back to the centre line. Will be shot, but quite a bit of room there for Caitlin Inch. That Trans-Tasman team that we've been talking about, I believe, to be announced tomorrow, I believe, is the intention.
Yeah, my understanding is that players will find out today, and then public find out tomorrow. Is a beautiful touch-up from Caitlin Inch, right on cue after screws have been applied somewhat by Joe Edwards. Draws a touch-up, moves the jack. Now that jack almost obstructed from the mat, the view for Joe Edwards, although we've seen a couple of times she's managed to find her way to the jack despite really being able to see it from the mat.
So as we watch this bowl now, just going to drop away under the head, played with reaching weight to the shot bowl.
Yeah, you can see what she was trying to do there. If she got the piece of the jack, would have taken it with it to that back black bowl, which he already has out there, but just slid by.
So again now, Caitlin Inch holding the shot and leading 5-4 in this race to 21. Lovely bowl here from Inch as that falls over and is indicated by Pauline Seaton. It's definitely 2. And chance here, of course, for Joe Edwards. Gets it inside of what is the second counting bowl, and that'll just about move onto the jack. And Joe Edwards will certainly be not frightened to try and use that bowl to get her the result of the counting bowl. As we see it now break down towards the head, needs to get to the inside of the bowl, not going to, just slightly under the line.
Yeah, and the replica of the previous bowl, finding a similar home as well. So still has one more opportunity, Caitlin Inch, to add to this and to bounce straight back after dropping a 3 on the previous end. Can she pick up a 3 of her own? Currently holding 2.
It's on a good line as it breaks in towards the head. That's that wider line to count. If it gets past this bowl, it will count, and I think it will. Falls in, and we'll just get that the marker to confirm.
It will be 3. The 3 lollipops go up in Caitlin Inch's favour. So after dropping a 3 of her own on the 6th end, on the 7th end she bounces straight back with her own. So it's now 8-4. Caitlin Inch leading Jo Edwards in this first to 21 matchup. Women's singles final here at the Papanui Club in Christchurch.
And the crowd turned out, Brendan, haven't they, to watch these players in action in these finals. Great crowd in here, all around, sitting all around the vantage points, viewing points around the green, and of course over the fence as well. So looking over the fence, it's great to come to a bowling club where they haven't got a big hedge or a big stone wall. So people can see from everywhere.
Yeah, although the big hedge or big stone wall may have come in handy to shelter us from the wind yesterday, Kevin Nicklin. But yes,
Yeah.
I do very much get your point. It is a great sight. All the fans, even outside the area, being able to lean on the fence and watch over this contest. And this crowd is certainly built from a healthy crowd for the Peers finals. Now for the first of the singles finals, very good number in attendance. I mean, you've got Cantab, Caitlin Inch, another great bowl from another player that's played a bit of bowls down here, and Jo Edwards
Toucher
with Burnside, a lovely toucher, and moving the jack slightly. And again, this has been a great contest so far between these two. It's what we expected it would be. Caitlin Inch
reach on
doing
her
well.
backhand, endeavouring to get to the bowl. It's going to be breaking down towards the head now, just going to be outside that required line to the jack, but she'll be more than happy with that. Sits in behind the second shot, came around the front bowl. It'll be second shot. Jo Edwards asking a question of the marker, asking where the Jo Edwards shot bowl is in relation to the jack. On our monitor, it sort of looks just a fraction jack low. So we see Jo Edwards, that well-known pace out to the side as she watches a bowl break towards the head. And she won't mind if this gets in behind a fraction, because there is the chance, of course, that Caitlin Inch can play with a bit of reaching weight on the backhand, which looks as though it was going to happen, looking from the swing on her arm, and it certainly is. She's playing right to it with full weight, that's for sure, trying to get to the jack or the bowl. Is on the outside of it, goes past.
Knocks away one of her own that was hanging out on that right-hand side of the screen. So didn't quite have the line. She's going to get another opportunity. It is Caitlin Inch, but what will Jo Edwards do before she gets to play is the big question.
So here now is Jo Edwards definitely holding the shot, trailing 8-4 against Caitlin Inch in this race to 21. And it's on that line to break in towards the head, but just going to go by, and we'll go past the head, I think. That'll be third shot, in fact. So Caitlin Inch needs to be a wee bit careful here, Brendan. She certainly wouldn't want to attack and lose her bowl. I'm sure she's not going to, because that would leave the door open for Jo Edwards to score a big number if she was to get her own, dislodge her own bowl out of the head. So here is Inch on the backhand, on the draw, trying to get down to what is a touch of the bowl of Jo Edwards'. Holding one, it's on a good line, this bowl. Just going to sit outside, but that's so Jo Edwards now. She'll endeavour to draw again to beat what is in fact the fourth shot, the grey bowl.
Yeah, an opportunity to make it three here.
She's trying to get that jack around the corner on the backhand. Will draw to the blue bowls behind, of course, will give her the two. Very often you see Jo Edwards go narrow and slice jack, so trying to get to the bowl or the jack, breaking down towards the head now. This is a great bowl. This from Edwards, falls in or out.
No surprise there. So 2 more for Joe Edwards. It's 8-6 now. Caitlin Inch leading Joe Edwards. This first to 21 women's singles final here at the Summerset Nationals at the Papanui Club in Christchurch.
Of course, also underway, which Brendan will update you, is the other men's semi-final of the singles of Dean Alger of the West End Club in Taranaki up against Ryan Burnett, the Scottish under-25 player. Now, of course, plays out of Broadbeach. And as soon as we can see the scoreboard, Brendan will be able to update you on what that score is in the race to 2021.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of it, Kevin. So 8-1, Andrew Kelly leading Dean Alger in that men's singles semi-final. Winner to play Ryan Burnett, as you mentioned, and partner of Caitlin Inch. So could be a great day for that couple. Well, it already is, with Caitlin Inch having won the pairs. She wins the singles, and her partner Ryan wins the men's singles. What a day out.
The champagne corks would be popping at Oxford.
Certainly would. Probably already are.
Well, Mother Leslie sitting over there with the blue rug over her knees there, and I see the brother Jacob, father Les, the farmer out in the Oxford area. The whole family play bowls. All of them play at Oxford.
Yeah, great supporters of Caitlin Inch as well. Seen the whole family over supporting her on the Gold Coast, be it at the Asia Pacific Champs, the Multi-Nations, or the Trans-Tasman.
Oh, and I forgot, so her other sister is sitting further down the rink there, and her grandmother is sitting there as well. So they're all here today.
Yeah, why not? When your daughter, your sister, your granddaughter is playing in 2 finals at the Summerset National Singles and Pairs, trying to do the double and getting the opportunity to play one of the very greatest in world bowls and Joe Edwards in a final. What an occasion.
And here is Caitlin Inch now with the blue bowls playing down towards the club end here at the Papanui Club. Is going to sit on the Joe Edwards bowl, just went by, and indicator highlight marking that it is 1-2 Caitlin Inch, which must be the front blue bowl.
And Andrew Kelly has extended his lead in his men's singles matchup with Dean Alger. 10-1 it is now. The men's singles semi-final for the right to play Ryan Burnett in this afternoon's title decider.
We saw late yesterday afternoon, the last game, as we watched this Joe Edwards bowl just sneaking around behind this, get to the jack. It's a shot for sure. In fact, it now indicates 2, so it was 2 to Edwards. Marvellous game late yesterday afternoon. Ellie Forsyth and Andrew Kelly, with Andrew Kelly running out the winner 21-19 in a real backwards and forwards encounter. So here's now Caitlin Inch endeavouring to get down to the bowls or the jack, to play under that line to get to the jack. No, she doesn't. She goes past. So Joe Edwards again will come down on that backhand.
And you can see the weight that Caitlin Inch was trying to play to get to the jack. Before Caitlin Inch plays her last, she's going to have a visit of the head and assess the situation, try and work out what the best bowl to play will be.
Joe Edwards knew then that Joe was short with the last bowl. She gave the old hand flick, knowing that, yeah, I'm short.
Joe Edwards is holding a couple. Caitlin Inch with 1 to play.
We saw it play down, trying to get to either her blue bowl, which is sitting out in front of the head, or to get down to the shot bowl or jack. We'll see which hand that Caitlin Inch elects to play. I think she'll endeavour to play. Yes, she's on that forehand again, trying to reach down to the Joe Edwards bowl. And she's certainly playing with a lot of reaching weight to get down to the jack or the bowl, and goes by.
So went with the drive, it didn't come off, and his 8-all now. Lollipop should go up, indicating 2. Yeah, no need for a measure out there. 2 lollipops go up in Joe Edwards' favour, and we're now 8 apiece in this first to 21 women's singles final here at the Summerset Nationals, Papanui Club in Christchurch.
And we hope you're enjoying this coverage that we're bringing to you. Our pleasure to bring you these finals of the Summerset National Bowls here at Bowls Papanui, and it was a big thank you to our team who do all the work. Brenton and I sit behind the microphones and the monitors, but the team of Ben, Tamara, Alex and Claudia, they do a wonderful job to bring this first class production to you. As we watch the Joe Edwards bowl just slip by to jack level, 8-all, the race to 21. And of course, we've got the other matches on here as well. Besides the singles, we've got the disabled combinations out there playing as well. In there, the para pairs final, B5 to B8. That sees Bruce Wakefield and Caroline Crawford out there, of course, who played in the Bowls 3-5 in the
for the Parajacks.
The Parajacks, they played, was Bruce Wakefield, silver medalist at the Commonwealth Games in the triples.
Yeah, at the Gold Coast Games he was. Caroline Crawford and Bruce Wakefield, both impressive performers for the Parajacks in the Bowls 3-5 televised league. Unfortunately for the Parajacks, relegated from the competition. The national interclub champion will be replacing them in the 2020 comp.
So the second bolt of Joe Edwards just sort of moved under the jack, slightly under green, and went by. So it's the Kate Dinich bowl in front, which is the shot. She'll play now, Kate Dinich on her backhand up towards us here in the commentary position. And breaks down towards the head. Going to sit under her own bowl or on it. And 2 shots.
A bit of a target for Joe Edwards if she wants to have a go. Otherwise, there's still room for her to draw the shot.
So here is Joe Edwards on the draw on the backhand. And of course, if she was fortunate enough to get a touch on the jack, that's to her advantage as well. But it's just going to, she's going to be lucky here, you would say. Got a feather off the front bowl and just went by and sat most likely for shot.
Yeah, lollipops haven't gone up yet, so we'll see hopefully after this bowl from Caitlin Inch what the situation is, whether it has indeed changed.
So Caitlin Inch on the draw, trying to break towards the head. We'll wait till he may well be short of the asking the question now, is Joe Edwards at what the story on the head is. It's more than likely a measure all round. It appears that Joe Edwards coming to have a look. Looking on our monitor, although we're not going to say that is the ultimate because we know the angles, but looks like the Caitlin Inch bowl from on the monitor, but
well, it depends what angle you look at.
Correct.
As well.
Can't you swing back the other way
from this angle, obviously,
yeah.
it's the Caitlin Lynch bowls. For this one, you probably favour the Joe Edwards black bowl.
So Joe Edwards having a look.
It's a bit of a toss-up. I think whatever the situation is right now, I think it will change after the next couple of bowls. Joe Edwards and Caitlin Lynch both still to play their last of this 10th end. Of course, ends are irrelevant. It's all about who gets to 21 first.
I can tell you now, Andrew Kelly leads 12-1. 12-1 over Dean Elgar in the race to 21, as Joe Edwards now on her backhand with her last bowl, playing down towards the commentary position here, just trying to get a bit more green onto the bowl to get to the jack. Has she got the weight? No, she has not got the weight. Now Caitlin Lynch having a look to see who's got shot, going around the bowls, trying to get an idea of who's got it. She's going backwards and forwards. And I wonder if it is the Joe Edwards bowl which is shot, whether we may see Caitlin Lynch. She's looking. I wonder whether it'll look to try and get to the Joe Edwards bowl.
Or even if it's not shot.
Even if it's not, correct,
Yeah,
Brenton. Even if it's not.
Get rid of that, then you're the only one with bowls in the area.
Certainly looking and moving now to the forehand. And it looks to me as though that's the sort of shot that Caitlin Lynch is looking to play, and is playing with reaching weight. As we said on that forehand, that opportunity is there. She was to get the bowl or one of her own and just goes by.
Wasn't far away.
Was not. That was very close. I think we'll see the measure come out here, because none of them appeared to be really sure, and we have the measure come straight out from Caitlin Lynch.
Yeah, there's 4 bowls in the conversation, I think, here. One of Joe Edwards, and that was the one that Caitlin Lynch was trying to take out with that weighted shot. There's 3 of Caitlin Lynch, so it's Joe Edwards who is the closest. So Joe Edwards scores again. So that's 3 straight ends where she's picked up shots. So from 8-4 down, she now leads, Joe Edwards, 9-8 in this race to 21. And the first time, I believe, today, in fact, she has led in this contest.
So Joe Edwards, of course, the world #1 women's singles player, as we know. Leading 9-8 as they play down towards the Papanui Club. Fantastic building, the new Papanui Club down in front of us here. Beautiful building with, as Brendan said, all the facilities, all sorts of facilities there, gymnasium, bars, restaurants. So Joe Edwards on the backhand, leading 9-8 in the race to 21. Just questioning her weight as she gets down towards the jack, and it sits jack low. See, most likely, I'd say Caitlin Lynch, yes, she's going to, again, she'll follow the Edwards backhand. Definitely on a tighter line, but of course, as we spoke about it earlier, used a tighter running bowl than Joe Edwards. Bowl comes in, falls in, asking who's got shot. Is Joe Edwards, and indicating that it is Caitlin Lynch's bowl who touched the Joe Edwards bowl, made shot of it. So here now will be Joe Edwards with her second bowl.
Joe Edwards,
false start. Yeah.
No one does it more often, I think, than Joe Edwards. If something does get in her eye line or something distracts her, she's got a great ability to just stop, start again, switch on once more.
Just resets and delivers the bowl. Head goes down, walks out to the side of the mat, which is the tradition of Joe Edwards, as The ball breaks in towards the head, but falls in.
Yeah, very few players look straight down, or sometimes she even looks to the side after delivering her bowl. And then once it's about halfway down, then she starts looking. Once she's made those steps, as you say, if she's playing backhand, she steps out to her left. If she's playing forehand, she steps out to her right.
So here now is Caitlin Inch with her second bowl. Bowl arcing nicely in towards the head. Going to get all the way up. It's going to sit on top of her own bowl. And marker coming out. That's 2 shots. We might see Jo Edwards attack here on her forehand. Might see Jo Edwards drive to the 2 bowls. She's up that very upright stance, and she is on the drive on the backhand, playing to get to the 2 bowls, trying to get them both. Got one, got the kill, and look back to Caitlin Inch and say, right, which way do you want to play? So for those who may not be aware, when the end gets killed, the players mutually then decide whether they want to play from the end of which they were playing from, or go back down the other way, and they're bringing the bowls back up to this end, the commentary position, and they'll replay, because ends don't count in this format in the race to 21. Ends are irrelevant. It's just points. They never run out of ends, you just run out of numbers.
Yeah, especially once you get to 21, it's all over. That is the aim of singles play. And that is what Jo Edwards and Caitlin Inch are trying to do. Caitlin Inch to try and win her maiden national singles title. Jo Edwards attempting to win her 3rd champion in 2011 and 2018. Of course, achieved so much internationally as well, headlined by those 2 Commonwealth Games gold medals in this discipline, the women's singles.
And I suppose you could say the only thing that's maybe missing off the trophy cabinet is the World Singles title, which her mate, who's just over here, Val Smith, of course, won in 2008, and now Jo Edwards playing the singles. Of course, Val was also silver medalist in 2012 in Adelaide. So 2016 won by Karen Murphy, and 2020 it will be certainly Jo Edwards trying to win her first gold in the singles. She's won gold, of course, in the pairs. So we watch the Caitlin Inch bolt just under green slightly, just moved away. Jo Edwards on her backhand. Caitlin Inch in the Oxford Taylor bowls. People walking around the back, and you said, Brenton, Jo Edwards is very deliberate, and if there's things moving around, she certainly will just hold, pose, and
yeah, it's the only thing I can liken it to is Tiger Woods and his ability to stop his swing in the backswing and start again.
And that is very hard.
That's exceptionally hard, but Jo Edwards pretty similar. Like, she's just about to deliver, and then she can just pull out and say, no, not happy with that, I want to start again.
So on the forehand now is Caitlin Inch. On a risk running into the short bowl of Jo Edwards. She'll play on her forehand down towards the Papanui Club end. Looks to be on a good line, just goes past the jack, will sit on the Jo Edwards bowl.
Is that enough?
Edwards now will go back to her backhand, just trying to draw either around or just under that front bowl of hers to get to the jack. Looks to be playing a line which is in fact under her front bowl. It's going to question how's the weight, as it seems to weight coming off as it breaks down towards the head now, but is
it looks like it was good enough for the shot.
How's that?
Certainly indicated there, the marker, that Jo Edwards is holding one. Caitlin Lynch will play her third bowl of this replayed end after it was killed by Joe Edwards when Caitlin Lynch had two pretty much on the jack, and this is a fine reply. If it holds up, it will.
That's
right in line, and that is now the shot for Caitlin Lynch.
That's certainly the shot, just sitting down and behind the jack.
About a foot indicated by the marker. Obviously on our pictures looks a lot closer than a foot. Angles can be deceiving.
Joe Edwards, I imagine. There's a bit of discussion going on out there. Is it someone's moving about? Or? So here now, Joe Edwards, she'll endeavour to get down on her backhand and reach to the Caitlin Lynch bowl. It's on its way. That backhand with weight trying to get to the Caitlin Lynch bowl. Is it going to come all the way back? It's breaking back now towards the head. Has it got the weight to get all the way to the jack? Has it? And it does. Have a look at that. A toucher by Joe Edwards. Only didn't have, as Brendan said, only about a foot to draw the shot. Came down perfectly on the backhand and drew the shot.
Just showing her quality, isn't it? As soon as she got the indication from the marker there was a foot to work with, she said, yep, I can find that. Thank you very much. Did exactly that, Joe Edwards. And now Caitlin Lynch is going to have to try and somehow grab the shot back. Stop this run of Joe Edwards is continuing. It looks on a right target, but I think it's just going to slide by, knocks away one of her own. As that maybe made the count worse. It was one. Is that now more than one? Might be certainly a measure for multiple. Yeah, it might have been two. It is two. So, costly final bowl from Caitlin Lynch as she drops another. And is now Joe Edwards 11, Caitlin Lynch 8, and that is 7-4, 7-0 rather, over the last four ends.
And just got, Caitlin Lynch just got that touch on that bowl, and her own bowl, of course, and moved that out of the head, which made it two shots for Joe Edwards. So Jack's been delivered down in front of us here.
Yeah, must remember that wasn't too long ago that this game was in Caitlin Lynch's favour. 8-4 after 7 ends. 4 ends later, it's Joe Edwards up by 3. And Joe Edwards was locked at 4 apiece with Serena Matthews in her semi-final yesterday. Serena Matthews did not score again. Joe Edwards winning 21-4.
So the bowl of Joe Edwards just goes past on that forehand side by about a metre. Andrew Kelly leading Dean Elgar 14-4, 14-4 in the race to 21. Of course, the winner of that to play Ryan Burnett later on today, as a toucher coming up here from Caitlin and sits right alongside the jack. Didn't quite touch it, but just sat right alongside it.
Great bowl from Caitlin Lynch. What she needs as well, she needs to continue to keep the pressure on. She knows Joe Edwards is playing very well, but she's just got to try and hang tough. Wait for Joe Edwards to make a mistake. They don't come very often, but every now and then there will be an opportunity. Caitlin Lynch needs to capitalise on it. She just needs to keep putting Edwards under pressure.
Just gets to the jack, does it? No. Just sits short of alongside the jack, but still that inch bowl looks to be the shot. And wonderful response by Joe Edwards with her second bowl. Marker indicating how far the bowls are away. They're pretty close, really.
Yeah, just a couple of inches, I think, at most.
11-8. Joe Edwards leading Caitlin Inch in this women's final here at the Summerset National Bowls at Papanui Club in Christchurch. And certainly great crowd in here now as we watch this bowl just go by the head that of Caitlin Inch's second bowl. So here will be Joe Edwards with her third, trying to get up to where that bowl of Caitlin Inch's or to get to the jack. She's looking at this now as it's breaking towards the head, getting towards the jack, getting towards the bowl. She likes this and sits right on top of it. Magnificent bowl by Joe Edwards and a touch-up. Out comes the chalk from the marker, Pauline Seaton.
Now she has the shot now. There's no doubt about that. What a bowl. Two great bowls from Joe Edwards back to back. First to near match Caitlin Inch's and then just to sit on her previous one. Knocked this previous bowl out of the way but then touched the jack for the shot. And that's near impossible to beat for Caitlin Inch.
Certainly is, and that's Joe Edwards at her best. You can see about 8 to 10 feet out Joe Edwards following the bowl up. She knew she was close to getting that result, and she's one of the players that she only chases the good ones. And that was certainly a good one for sure, leading 11-8. In this race to 21.
Yeah, I assume the aim was to actually knock away the Inch bowl. The next best result was to sit on hers for the shot, so she won't be disappointed with how it turned out, that's for sure. And that's the benefit when you're playing with that kind of weight. Reaching weight, you give yourself a chance.
Well, and of course, Joe Edwards plays with that sort of weight where you don't lose your bowl or it doesn't go out of play, become an ineffective bowl. It's she always plays, look at this, is going to just go past the jack and sit behind the head and by one of the Caitlin Inch bowls. And what can Caitlin Inch do here to score? Difficult, but she's certainly capable as Caitlin Inch to change things around here. Of course, earlier on this morning, winning her first New Zealand title, the 24-year-old, and certainly won a gold medal, of course, earlier on this year at the Asia Pacific Championships, of which there was 19 countries in attendance. So that was a pretty good international medal to win. And here is now Caitlin Inch playing down on her backhand, trying to reach the Joe Edwards bowl, turn it through possibly, or draw it dead. Has it got the weight? This is close. Great attempt here by Caitlin Inch. Just went by centimetres really.
Yeah, but not quite good enough. And that's the fine margins, unfortunately. And that was a fine effort from Caitlin Inch, but not good enough to deny Joe Edwards another. So her lead further extends. 12-8 now. Joe Edwards leading Caitlin Inch. And she's now scored on 5 successive ends as Joe Edwards. And erased a 4-shot deficit, turned it into a 4-shot lead.
16-4 now, Andrew Kelly over Dean Elgar of Taranaki. Andrew Kelly, of course, from Canterbury, the Canterbury club, playing the West End player, the winner of the singles in 2017. And in last year, 2019, winning the fours in Wellington. And another good nationals by Dean Elgar as we watch Joe Edwards play down towards the clubhouse, leading 12-8. Remembering Caitlin Inch, who jumped out of the gates, jumped to a 4-0 lead, 5-1 lead, and then a 3 to go out to 8-4. And then from then on, it's been Joe Edwards who has done all the scoring. And this bowl, Caitlin Inches is going to pull up short. I just wonder whether that breeze is getting up for the players. Brendan, I'm just looking at the Summerset flag down in that corner there, and which was still, completely still.
Yeah, it certainly is a bit of breeze, a different breeze than what we had yesterday. Not the southerly or the southwesterly, maybe more of a northerly breeze coming through.
Brendan, that wasn't a breeze yesterday. That was.
Yeah, it certainly was more than a breeze. Very gusty winds.
It was an Arctic visit.
Yeah, in the middle of summer. Yeah, very unwelcome visitor as well with that wind.
So Caitlin Inch with her second bowl just gets a touch on the Joe Edwards bowl, rolls back and sits in behind the back of the head. Still be favour the Joe Edwards bowl, the Jack level bowl on the backhand side of the rink.
Closer to being Jack level, but I don't know if there's much between them, looking at our television pictures.
So here now is the third bowl of Joe Edwards, and she doesn't like that. She knew straight away she was short. She'll be disappointed with that.
An opening for Caitlin Inch. This is perhaps what she needs to get back into this contest.
It's on a good arc. It's this bob of Caitlin Inches as it breaks down towards the head and will come around behind the Jack. And certainly, and that is the shot as indicated by the marker. 1 to Caitlin Inch, asking whether it's 1 or 2. I think 1 was the indication from Pauline Setting, the marker.
So that black bowl out to the right of screen is the second shot indicated by the marker, not that second blue bowl.
So here now is Joe Edwards' fourth bowl, certainly out on that wider line, and I think that'll come back. Shakes her head. She knew that she was out on that wider side.
Yeah, had the weight to try and get to that shot bowl, grab the shot for herself. Now on the flip side, Caitlin Inch has a chance to turn this into a couple if she can, even if she can just sit on the black bowls.
Oh,
or even do better than that.
She's going to do better than that. That'll be 3.
And that should be 3. Right, confirmation.
Just got a nice touch on the Jack. And was always on a good arc to get into the counter. And it is 3. Up goes the lollipops.
15-8. Oh, excuse me. 12-11 it is now. Joe Edwards leading Caitlin Inch. 12-11. Caitlin Inch after 5 scoreless ends. Back on the board. Welcome return for her and tightens this match right up, of course. First to 21. This women's singles final, as the men's singles final will be after this. And the men's singles semi-final between Andrew Kelly and Dean Elgar is reaching its conclusion. Andrew Kelly now leading Dean Elgar 19-4 in that first to 21 semi-final. Andrew Kelly looking on course to play Ryan Burnett in the men's singles final later today. Ryan Burnett, Scotsman, plays out the Broadbeach Club, the partner of Caitlin Inch.
So, very good opening bowl by Caitlin Inch. This after scoring a 3 and sits just alongside and behind the Jack. Joe Edwards now with his first bowl, following the line of the Caitlin Inch bowl. Breaking down towards the Jack now. Is it going to sit on the Caitlin Inch bowl? Yes, it will. Just rolls it out of the head.
So Caitlin Inch has brought the mat nearly all the way forward. The Jack on the tee. So another short length end.
It's the sort of, as we know, the Australian style, so to speak, Brendan, isn't it? So we saw it a lot yesterday in that game with Ali Forsyth against Andrew Kelly, where continuously moved the mat a long way up the green. So here now is Jo Edwards to play her second bowl on the forehand, playing up towards the club end here at Papanui with clear skies now. Very little breeze to speak of as the bowl just goes by the head.
I wouldn't exactly call this clear skies,
Well,
but
there's
clear of
blue,
wind at the moment.
some blue over there and over here. There's some
Very optimistic to call this clear
blue
skies.
over there. There's blue sky.
I call this mostly overcast.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what the weatherman said this morning. I was trying to be optimistic.
But it is a quite nice sunshine on the green right now. Relatively warm conditions, probably the warmest conditions of the day. And that flag that was fluttering a bit has pretty much stopped, and still good conditions for bowls. And so far has produced a really thrilling contest.
Marker indicating to Jo Edwards when she asked that it is Jo Edwards holding the shot as we watch her play her third bowl. It's on a good arc towards the jack as it breaks down towards the head now. How far is it going to run? And fall in behind the head, and that's two as indicated by Pauline Seaton. It was just dropping to 3, did Jo Edwards, leading 12-8, dropped to 3, so
And the score is 12-11.
Caitlin Inch was certainly wanting to not see Jo Edwards get that number back straight away, and some good response here from the young 24-year-old, and draws right in behind the jack, was 2 down and played a superb bowl to draw right in behind the jack.
So now Jo Edwards has to get rid of that, change the head. She's to deny Caitlin Inch a chance of levelling the match here.
Jo Edwards surveying from the mat what shot she's going to play. I'm picking that she will get down with some weight on her backhand to get to, and she is playing with, and didn't like that one out of her hand. You could
straight
see.
away, not a good result,
Yeah.
but it might take a few things out. And in the end, it just took out a few of the back bowls, and it will be one more to Caitlin Inch. So we're all locked up now, 12 apiece, 12 all between Caitlin Inch and Jo Edwards in this women's singles final here at the Summerset Nationals. And it's the contest we all expected it would be. Two Blackjacks teammates. Caitlin Inch, a rising star of the New Zealand and international game. Jo Edwards, a bona fide superstar. Two-time defending Commonwealth Games gold medalist in this very discipline. And Caitlin Inch is pushing her after winning the Peers this morning, trying to make it a rare double by claiming the singles as well.
Of course, in the last national championships in Dunedin, it's interesting, we saw these two, Caitlin Inch and Jo Edwards, go toe-to-toe in the final, of which Jo Edwards ran out the winner. And the men's final, we saw Andrew Kelly play Shannon McElroy. Of course, Shannon McElroy's not here, but Andrew Kelly played in that final. So if he's to get to 21, that's half a repeat. And right in front of us, we've got an actual repeat of that final, of which Jo Edwards was the winner in that final at the Tyree Club in Dunedin. As we watch this bowl of Jo Edwards is just breaking behind the jack, the backhand side, and that backhand draw. It was a good opening bowl by Caitlin Inch, but the 600 plus international player, cap player for New Zealand, straight away equal to the task as we watch this second bowl on Caitlin Inch's. The good weight just holds fractionally on that wider line, Joe Edwards. 12 all in the race to 21. Anyone's game. So watch this second bowl. Joe Edwards trying to get under that Caitlin Inch bowl, and it will. How far is it going to run through to the head? Sits low of the jack.
It's 2. That marker indicates Joe Edwards is holding with her first 2 bowls. Dean Elgar has picked up a shot in the men's singles semi-final against Andrew Kelly, but he's still got a lot of work to do. 19-5. He trails in that first 21 men's singles semi-final against Andrew Kelly. Andrew Kelly on the verge of joining Ryan Burnett in this afternoon's final.
So here is Caitlin Inch, definitely, as Brendan said, 2 down on the head, playing her 3rd bowl, trying to get down to the Joe Edwards shot bowl to sit alongside the jack. Is it going to get to the jack or just slide away? It slid away under the head, and the marker. Joe Edwards asking whether there's any change to the head and where bowls are located. And I can tell that Andrew Kelly is now holding the game. Just saw him dislodge a Dean Elgar bowl, and I see that Andrew Kelly holding the game over in that other singles semi-final. So Brenton will keep an eye on that, no doubt, to see what happens. So Joe Edwards changing hand to the forehand, trying to get down to the 2 Caitlin Inch bowls, the blue bowls that are out to the side. It's creeping up towards the head. It won't get up far enough.
That's enough for a 3rd.
It's a 3rd shot though, as
so
indicated.
while our screen looks like one of those 2 blue bowls might be closer than that last bowl from Joe Edwards, that is not the case.
Caitlin Inch having a good look at the head, and yeah, you can see, Brendan, they sort of went through further than what we thought they'd gone. When you look on that monitor here, so big bowl here from Caitlin Inch, 12 all.
It certainly is, with Joe Edwards holding 3. Still a bowl to play as well, so you've got to at least get a 2nd here, you'd think.
On the
drive, play
drive
with weight.
On the drive, trying to get to the jack or the counting bowls. What a great bowl by the New Zealand player. 3 down on the head and
It
drove
is, with Joe
and
Edwards
killed it. Of course,
3.
Joe Edwards still had a bowl left, so superb bowl there by Caitlin Inch.
Yeah, very, very well executed by Caitlin Inch. I saw Joe Edwards do that, playing up towards our commentary position, now playing towards the new Papanui club end. And this time Caitlin Inch with her final bowl, the pressure was on, and managing to kill it. And we will replay this end. The scores remain the same, 12 apiece, and we'll go back from our commentary position end back down to the Papanui club end. And again, it will be Caitlin Inch who will be determining the length with the mat and the jack.
And the match being moved forward, not as far forward as it was previously at the other, but it has been moved forward, and the jack's been delivered down towards the Papanui club end.
And the match is still going in the men's singles semi-final. So Andrew Kelly managed to score, but not score 2. He scored just the 1, so 20-5 on match point in that men's singles semi-final, 1st to 21 against Dean Elgar. And the winner to play Ryan Burnett of Scotland in this afternoon's final.
So on the backhand is Caitlin Inch as it breaks down towards the jack and gets a touch to the jack, sits in front of it, front touch up, leaving about a foot for Joe Edwards now on her backhand to draw the shot. It's on its way.
Well, we know what she did last time. She had a foot, she took it, and she drew inside the Caitlin Inch bowl. She's able to replicate that again. Looks on a decent line. Jo Edwards' bowl doesn't quite have the weight. Not quite, but that's a very, very good effort.
Certainly is. And, the key thing is that players like Jo Edwards, they build their head up. Well, if they're going to drop numbers, they minimise the chances of dropping 4s or 3s as they back their draw. And, that's a good second shot sitting there at this point from Jo Edwards. Another very good bowl coming in here from Caitlin Inch. Changes of hand, draws around and behind the jack. And asking the marker, Pauline Seaton, as Jo Edwards is how far short of the jack is it? And it's about 18 inches, she indicated.
And indicating 2 down, I think, the marker as well. Saw it, 2 fingers went down.
So here is then Jo Edwards on that backhand again. As Brendan said, marker indicated that it is 2. As it's breaking down towards the head now, the Jo Edwards bowls are going to get a touch on her own. In fact, just slipped under her own bowl and sat on the Caitlin Inch bowl. One would assume that would be second shot, but we'll just wait to see what the marker has.
One in a
measure is the call. 12 all in the race 2:21 with a great crowd in here at the Papanui Club. And don't forget, of course, we will be bringing you the final of the men's singles. At the completion of this game, we'll have the men's singles, which will be the last of the finals of the Summerset Nationals. Another very good bowl here from Caitlin Inch. Just comes in right back onto the centre line. So Jo Edwards having a look on the backhand. Watching, want to play. Can't play with too much weight, of course, because there's no bowls over the head at this point in time. Here she is on the backhand, playing down towards the Papanui Club. Definitely down on the head. As we watch this bowl now breaking towards the head and sits in behind by about 1 metre. She'll be quite happy, in fact, that that bowl has gone behind, because if she elects to play with a bit of forcing weight with her last bowl, got a back bowl, and there has Jo Edwards in this race to 21.
Yeah, so it's a replayed end after Caitlin Inch killed it first time, after Jo Edwards was holding 3, playing her last this time. Playing her last in a much more comfortable position. Holding shot.
Forehand. Dressed all in black is Caitlin Inch. Bowl goes by to the back. Obviously, there it is, all over. And that men's semi-final, and I can tell you that Andrew Kelly of Christchurch, the Canterbury Club, has defeated Dean Elgar of the West End Club in New Plymouth. It was 21-5 was the final score, and we'll now have Andrew Kelly in his second final of the day go up against Ryan Burnett of the Broadbeach Club in Australia, Scottish under-25 player. So 2 finals for Andrew Kelly. Great achievement. As we watch now, Jo Edwards on the mat.
Some movement. So she paused, stepped off the mat momentarily, composed herself once more. Now back into a process.
Definitely playing with reaching weight, trying to get down to the bowl. Is it going to get to the bowl to get to the jack? And it does, gets to the bowl, and just...
Unfortunately for her, all it's done is replace the bowl of hers that was there. Didn't knock away the Caitlin Inch shot bowl. Might have a measure for second shot perhaps here.
Caitlin Inch has certainly got the measure out very quickly. So Dean Elgar, of course, the winner in 2017 at New Plymouth, is now out of the event as a beaten semi-finalist. And Andrew Kelly will once again line up in a New Zealand singles final, which he did, of course, 2 years ago in Dunedin.
Well, emulating Caitlin Inch by making 2 finals at these championships, and that is 2 for Caitlin Inch. So that measure going in Caitlin Inch's favour. And now, after being 4 down, she's up by a couple, Caitlin Inch, scoring in 3 successive ends, 6 shots picked up. And Caitlin Inch leading Jo Edwards 14-12 now in this first 2:21 matchup. Women's singles final here at the Papanui Club in Christchurch.
So playing up towards the club being here at the Papanui Club. This race 2:21. It's Caitlin Inch playing her first bowl. And draws right alongside Jack. Good opening bowl by the young 24-year-old. Jo Edwards now following up the Caitlin Inch bowl. It's going to come back all the way to the Jack. No, it's not. Just going to hang towards the centre line. Goes by a metre. So Caitlin Inch certainly, the last few ends, has put the pressure on. Her well, the drive was this magnificent drive that was played when more than likely 3 down.
Yeah, huge moment in this match. That would have made it 15-12 to Jo Edwards. Instead, ends replayed because she managed to kill the end. And then she picks up a couple and she leads 14-12. So 5-shot swing there. Massive, massive moment in this game.
It's got 2 great opening bowls here sitting just in front of the Jack. And 2 very, very good bowls on the forehand side, which are played. Jo Edwards now trying to get to the Jack. All these 2 bowls just going to go by. And just a matter now, you'll see Caitlin Inch might go for a wee bit of cover with her third to draw in between the blue bowls and the Jo Edwards bowls, because I'm sure we're going to see at some point Jo Edwards will endeavour to attack.
After a few directions from the market, Caitlin Inch is happy and ready to play forehand side.
So on its way up towards, we're sitting in the commentary position, and looks to be again on a good line, just going to go past the head, and we'll actually count where that sits, about a metre and a bit in behind. Jo Edwards still playing on the draw, on the forehand. There's 2 down. We'll be trying to get to the counting bowls or the Jack. Watching this as it breaks towards the head. How far is it going to run by? Ran by a metre, and could be still 3, Brendan.
Yeah, I think it would be. So, big last bowl coming up from Jo Edwards. Of course, Caitlin Inch will play first. Her last bowl of this end.
So, yeah, this is a big end. Very big end. 14-12. Caitlin Inch leading. Changing, going to her backhand. And I'm sure we'll try and draw down and still count in between these Jo Edwards bowls, in case Jo Edwards elects to attack. It goes all the way by. 3 down and 14-12. What does Joe Edwards do here? Drive or draw? We'll know in but a second.
Well, we mentioned a moment, just the last end before it was replayed. Joe Edwards was holding 3. It was the last bowl of the end. Caitlin Inch drove, killed the end. It was replayed. This time, the shoe is on the other foot. Caitlin Inch holds 3. Last bowl of the end. Joe Edwards with the bowl in her hand. What can she come up with?
On her forehand, trying to get down to the counting bowls or sit on the bowls, get the jack. What a great effort there by Joe Edwards. Came up, rested on the bowls, had enough weight to roll things around, and was more than only one bowl away from getting a possible shot result, but dropping the 1. But it's another 1 takes Caitlin Inch now to 15-12, 15-12. And just to update you that Andrew Kelly of the Canterbury Club has defeated Dean Elgar of West End in Taranaki to see him play Ryan Burnett this afternoon in the Summerset Men's Nationals Singles Final.
Yeah, massive bowl that was from Joe Edwards. And while she wasn't able to deny Caitlin Inch completely, she was able to cut the count from 3-1. 3 would have put Caitlin Inch 1 end away potentially from winning 2 national titles today. Already won the pairs. If you just joined our coverage recently, took out the pairs title with Selena Goddard this morning, beating Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce in that title decider. Caitlin Inch's first national title, Selena Goddard's 3rd. She's now got the set Selena Goddard, a pairs, singles and a 4s.
So Joe Edwards will just, the professional that she is, knows what she's got to do. She'll just, as we saw that last end, she's certainly capable of, as is Caitlin Inch, playing those big bowls to get themselves out of trouble. But we're certainly seeing Caitlin Inch with consistency now in the draw, as she draws virtually on front of that jack line. Definitely holding the 1. Joe Edwards will play on her backhand down towards the Papanui Club end. As we watch the Edwards bowl now breaking down towards the head. How's the weight as it comes down toward trying to get to the Caitlin Inch bowl? No, it's not going to. Just short marker indicates just the 1 to Caitlin Inch.
Still some space in behind that Caitlin Inch bowl, which Joe Edwards will try and exploit. But what will Caitlin Inch do first with her bowl?
So here's now the Caitlin Inch bowl breaking on towards the head. This is another good bowl. This, in fact, is going to rest right on top of the jack.
Yeah, that shows there was a bit of a gap there between that bowl and the jack. And didn't go for the gap. She just went straight for jack. That's 2 now. Caitlin Inch is holding.
Will force Joe Edwards to change her hand to try and get down to the jack. She's not. She's still persevering down on that backhand side. She feels that she can draw past that to get to the jack to make shot of it. On its way is the Joe Edwards bowl. Zip now breaks down towards the head. Joe Edwards likes this bowl. Is it going to get in but in front of that Caitlin Inch bowl and fall in? No. In fact, it's sat just sat alongside it. Definitely 2, as the marker had indicated.
Now, a big opportunity here again for Caitlin Inch. Can she add to the count and heap more pressure once more on Jo Edwards?
Just wonder whether, I just saw Jo Edwards have a look on that other hand to see whether the option is to change the hand. She hasn't played many bowls down on that forehand side. She can play down to get to the jack or the counting bowls, which you can actually see the jack on the forehand side as we watch this backhand delivery of Caitlin Inch now breaking down towards the head, definitely holding. It's going to go past, and looking is Jo Edwards to see whether she's, I don't know, 2 or 3 down. The marker going to have a look for us, and it'll tell us in but a moment, Brendan, when
they go up. Two lollipops up by our marker. So with just the Jo Edwards bowl to be played, Caitlin Inch holding a couple.
So will we see Jo Edwards go to that forehand? No, not. Jo Edwards still playing down on that backhand side to endeavour to get to the shot bowl or to the jack. As it breaking down towards the head now. Come all the way back. Is it going to get all the way back to the shot bowl? Have a look at this, would you? Have a look at this. Have a look at that bowl of Jo Edwards. Turned the bowl out and made shot of it. What a bowl that was.
Yeah, well, maybe questioning that she stuck with that backhand side, but what a bowl that was. You saw a little fist pump from Jo Edwards as well. 2 down, turns it into 1 up. So it's now 15-13. Caitlin Inch leading in this first to 21 women's singles final here at the Papanui Club in Christchurch. The final day of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs. Already Caitlin Inch has won the National Pairs title with Selena Goddard, trying to make it a double, but Jo Edwards is not gonna give up. She is an absolute fighter. She's won this title twice. Last time she was here at the Nationals, she won this title. She is the 2-time defending champion at the Commonwealth Games. She is relentless and not going to make it easy for Caitlin Inch. Inch knows that. She's a fighter herself.
Well, that would be as good a draw bowl as you'd see, Brendan, isn't it? That, you know, there was only centimetres to get to the jack, and Jo Edwards now quickly back into her work, draws in behind the jack, and will that bowl be a telling point in the game? Because that was certainly a shot to remember, and she repeated that with her draw shot just then. The first bowl on this end draws just in behind the jack as we watch the Caitlin Inch bowl, who has played some superb draw bowls. Just going to go by. That shows the class of these players.
No, it certainly does. Only Jo Edwards could have played that shot, really. Caitlin Inch almost in disbelief with that. Thought, yeah, you might be able to cut it to 1, but you're not going to be able to outdraw that and grab the shot. But Jo Edwards did, and she doesn't celebrate much. Just a little fist pump, just a little fist pump. You knew how big it was for her.
But now here she is, straight back into her work, and she's got 2 on top of the jack virtually, and straight away now the pressure goes on to Caitlin Inch, who's just as equal to the task under pressure as we have already seen before when she was 3 down and got the kill, and that would have been a jump on the board for Jo Edwards, but the 24-year-old is completely equal to the task. You watch this second bowl of Caitlin Inch's, just looks as if it's going to go by on the wide side slightly, and it does. Comes all the way back to the centre line. Edwards holding 2, and interesting now going to her backhand. Doesn't want to give a shoulder on that forehand on that side of the rink, and quite happy to cover down the back perhaps, or draw another shot. But doesn't want to give a shoulder now to the bowl, and she may not be too happy with that one actually, because it pushed the jack out as well fractionally.
And I think that's what Caitlin Lynch is going to have a go at. Winding up, here it comes. The drive coming from Caitlin Lynch. Has it got the jack, or has it got one of the shot bowls? It's got two of the shot bowls, in fact. And that has certainly changed the situation. And that's exactly why Kevin was saying that Joe Edwards probably wouldn't have been too happy with that, because it certainly opened it up. It gave Caitlin Lynch an opportunity. She went for the jack. If she didn't get the jack, she'd still knock away at least one. She got two.
Just removed it from a one bowl target, just widened it up the target area, and Caitlin Lynch equal to it, and straight away got the desired result by reducing the count. As we watch this bowl of Joe Edwards breaking behind the head, and certainly within that counting area. So here now is Caitlin Lynch, definitely one down, and leading 15-13, 15-13 in the race to 21. As we watch this bowl, Caitlin Lynch is definitely out on the wider side. How far will it come back? Not enough.
No, asking a bit too much of that one. Didn't quite get the line right, so it should be.
It is two.
Two to Joe Edwards. So we're all locked up now. 15 apiece in this women's singles final. First to 21, of course. And after scoring on back-to-back ends, after turning a two down into a one up, now they're a good strong two. This has got the feeling like it's going to go to the wire. Two great competitors slugging it out.
Well, we certainly expected this, Brendan. We'd said all along, once we knew that we had this final between Joe Edwards and Caitlin Lynch, we always knew that it was going to be a real battle, you know, shot for shot, blow for blow type game, and that's what it's turned out to be. You know, we saw, you know, there's been 8-4, Caitlin Lynch led, and then we had Joe Edwards leading 12-8, and then from then on it's sort of been to and fro. We saw Inch score a 3, a 1 and a 2, jump out to a 14-12 lead, and Joe Edwards has pegged it back with a 1 and a 2 now to tie it all up at 15 all in this race to 21. So we're seeing, as we thought, as predicted, that we would see a game which would go backwards and forwards. Of course, earlier on today we saw Raymond Martin and Robbie Bennett of Wellington. They have won the Summerset New Zealand men's pairs by defeating Richard Hocking and Andrew Kelly in their final earlier on this morning. And of course we saw Caitlin Lynch win her first New Zealand title this morning when Caitlin Lynch and Selena Goddard defeated Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce. So a big day for Caitlin Lynch, and of course her partner Ryan Burnett, who's going to play Andrew Kelly later on this afternoon as soon as this game is completed, as the players come back to the mat.
Just a bit of a break for refreshments, etc.
Caitlin Lynch gone over talking to the family.
Yeah, Selena Goddard, her pairs partner, down there as well, so maybe not just a family visit, but also a chance to maybe talk a bit of tactics. I know several times Joe Edwards has looked to Val Smith, a good mate, world champion singles player herself, for maybe a bit of feedback. This morning I went to look at the scoreboard before they started, just to make sure what side of the boards that they were on, and I looked at the Caitlin Lynch side, and it had Caitlin Lynch and S. Smith, and I looked at it again, S. Smith. So
in 2 weeks' time, Selena Goddard, in fact, will be Selena Smith. So Caitlin Inch just reminding her partner that, well, you ain't got that name for much longer. So here now, we're back into the action. 15 all in the race to 21 in the final of the Summerset National Women's Singles Final here at the Papanui Club. Jo Edwards has delivered her first bowl on the backhand, and Selena Goddard out of the Broad Beach Club and Oxford Club here in Christchurch delivers her first, and the jack level bowl, Jo Edwards would be the shot, but we know that the first bowl doesn't really matter so much, Brendan, because the things change around, don't they?
Certainly, with their ability time and time again to change the head, these two, Caitlin Inch and Jo Edwards, in effect. It's the first to 6 contest now. And this women's singles final, all locked up at 15 apiece. It's first to 21. Make that now first to 6.
It is, that's correct. It's Jo Edwards, I see, just put her hands up in the air, but then just got out on the wide side with that bowl. It's interesting, you noticed yesterday, although there was the wind yesterday, playing away from this commentary end, if you just seem to get out, let's say slightly on the wide side, it's 1 to Caitlin Inch. If you get out slightly wide, they don't seem to draw as kindly as I'd call the midway line. And Jo Edwards got out on that slightly wider side and just didn't get the same draw back to the jack. And she plays her third bowl and has definitely brought the line in here for sure. It now breaks down towards the jack. How's the weight? So it goes by and sits in behind the jack, and still 1-2. Caitlin Inch is the indicator from the marker, Pauline Seaton.
Great crowd in attendance. We've said it a few times, but a lot of them, or all eyes on this first green. A couple of finals and the Disabled Championship as well. I believe we'll be bringing you a game later today after the men's singles final as well. Make sure you find out the full results of the disabled finals on bowlsnewzealand.co.nz at the end of the day. It's great to have the disabled players part of this Summerset Nationals as well for the first time.
So here now is Jo Edwards down on the head, 15 all, the draw on the backhand, and again gets on that side where it just struggles a bit to come all the way back. She realises that as well. Sort of waves her hand, a bit of frustration. 1 to Caitlin Inch at this point with a bowl to come.
Yeah, 2 would be golden at this stage of the game. So little separating these two. She can add a second to the count here. Coming on the forehand side, just looking to draw it back to the jack. Can she come around her front bowl, which is the shot bowl? Is it going to hold up? Is it going to hold up? No, it's not. It looks like it is just a 1. 1 to Caitlin Inch, but she reclaims the lead in this contest.
The bonus would have been there for Caitlin Inch playing down that side if she was to get a touch on the jack on the way through. She had a couple of bowls, Caitlin had a couple of bowls sitting over on that side of the rink, which certainly would have been to her favour. So just the 1.
16-15, Caitlin Inch now leading Jo Edwards in this battle of the Blackjacks in the women's singles final. First to 21, of course, if you have just joined us. And this looks like it's going to go right down to the wire. Caitlin Inch getting off to a good start, led 4-0 after 3 ends. Joe Edwards then took charge somewhat, and after it was all tied up, it was 8-4, Caitlin Lynch leading after 7 ends, and then Joe Edwards went on a bit of a tear, and it was 12-8 she led after 12. Since then, Caitlin Lynch then bounced back, led 15-12, before Joe Edwards tied it up at 15 apiece before that single on the last to Caitlin Lynch. A good start on this end from Inch. How will Joe Edwards reply? She looks to draw one back on the forehand. It's not far away again. Caitlin Inch holding with her first.
So Inch holding shot on the forehand, played up towards the clubhouse end here. As it breaks down towards the head now, definitely holding one. As it breaks in now, arcs towards the jack, and it'll be sit virtually jack level alongside. That'll be a couple. Edwards onto her backhand now, trying to get either the rest on either one of the two bowls or get a touch on the jack. So Joe Edwards delivers on her backhand. Caitlin Inch, the 24-year-old, certainly putting the pressure on Joe Edwards, the world #1 singles player, and just skipped by, underweighted. 2 was the marker indicated. Pauline Seaton, 2-2. Caitlin Inch. This could be a big end.
Yeah, we've said it before, and both players have managed to get themselves out of trouble by either killing it, and both have done that. Also, Joe Edwards has managed to draw for a shot when men down by a couple. A good bowl that from Caitlin Inch, all in the area. Marker indicates that yes, it is indeed 3. Caitlin Inch holds. Joe Edwards still has a couple to play though.
On the backhand is Joe Edwards trying to reach up to these counting bowls, draw the shot up to the counting bowls. It's breaking up towards the head now, breaking down towards the jack. Is it going to go inside or outside? And went outside. Now we've got some big pressure, Brendan.
Yeah, certainly do. A lot of pressure on the final bowl of Joe Edwards. Caitlin Inch looking to assess the situation first, because she'll play first. She's looking at what she needs to do, what Joe Edwards could do. And I think obviously if Joe Edwards can get the jack, any movement on the jack would be good for her, because she's got a couple of bowls past their head. Caitlin Inch has only got one just past their head, so you think she's going to need a bit of cover.
Of course, she can, Brendan, of course, draw through her first or shorter bowl and come into the back here and still count, in fact, and virtually cover, sit on the 2 Joe Edwards bowls. But she'll definitely be wanting to get behind the head, and it's breaking in towards the head. It's outside the bowls now, so it's going to finish outside the back bowls of Joe Edwards. So here comes Joe Edwards, 3 down, trailing 16-15 in the race to 21. If she's fortunate enough to draw the shot, she'll be happy with that. If she got the added bonus of getting a touch on the jack, Joe Edwards could possibly make 3 of it, but her main thought would be, let's get the shot, or at least second shot. She'll play down on the backhand.
Big shot this, huge shot in the context of the match. Inch holding 3. Can Edwards turn it into 3 of her own? She's going for drive. Jack, if she can. And she's just missed it. Hands on knees, can't quite believe she's missed it. Relief on the face of Caitlin Inch. That means she's picked up a 3. Big end for the younger of the 2 Blackjacks. 19-15, 2 shots away now is Caitlin Inch from 2 national titles in a day.
Certainly looked to be online, Brendan, now halfway up that run shot of Joe Edwards trying to get the jack into the ditch. and look to be on the right track. Just say we missed it by a few centimetres on the wider side, and leaving Caitlin Inch holding 3. And interesting now, we've gone for pretty much a full length hit. The mat's quite a way back. Jack's been delivered down towards the back end, the deepest part of the green. As you watch the first bolt of Caitlin Inch go just behind the Jack by about a metre. So Jo Edwards now a real battle on her hands now on the backhand. Trying to, obviously, certainly, as we know, she'll hang right in there, right in the game is Jo Edwards. That'll be the shot as it goes, drops in behind the Jack. Again, we'll see now on the backhand is Caitlin Inch. 19-15. Scored 3 threes in this game so to date as Caitlin Inch, which is, here's a good bowl from the 24-year-old, going to sit inside for a shot and fall over. Very good bowl by Caitlin Inch. Jo Edwards now on the back end. Remember, these two played the final in Dunedin a couple of years back. And on that occasion, Jo Edwards running out the winner. As the Edwards bowl now is breaking down towards the Jack. Is it going to get a touch on the Jack? No, it doesn't. Just skips by, so it's 1-2. Caitlin Inch at this point. Here is Caitlin Inch now playing her third bowl, leading 19-15 in this race to 21. That's going to cut under the line as well. So Jo Edwards now, this sounds a scoring chance here now, of course, for Jo Edwards. She can roll the bowl out. Sure, Caitlin Inch has got one left. If she can sit the shot bowl through, she will make 2, maybe 3 of it. So we watch the bowl of Jo Edwards now breaking down towards the head. Is it going to come back far enough? Has it got the weight to get all the way? Is it going to get all the way? Don't think so.
The marker will give us the indication whether it has been enough.
1-2. Caitlin Inch. Will she draw another to make it 2 and hold game? Leading 19-15. Of course, still a chance here. Changing a hand is Caitlin Inch, trying to get back to the other side of the head, trying to get another bolt on the forehand side, because Jo Edwards here can, as we watch this bolt break towards the head. This is another good bowl from the young player, 24-year-old, because Brendan, if Jo Edwards can come down, turn out what is the shot bowl, would most likely a good chance of making 3. If it comes down, turns the blue bowl out of the head, would it make 3? So Jo Edwards has been down to have a look at the head. And we'll soon know if she plays down that backhand side. She plays with that weighted line. She'll certainly be playing for the shot bowl. On the backhand.
It's the best tight way of accessing, but she knows it's not right. It's under the line, didn't have the necessary line to get there. So another point for Caitlin Inch.
All
She
but.
earns the shot, and she's at match point now. Caitlin Inch, 20-15. She now leads Jo Edwards in this first to 21 women's singles final. There's the sign for Caitlin Inch.
Go, Caitlin, with Selena Goddard there with the supporting. And I can see the young lady, she's been taking water out and everything to Caitlin Inch this morning. And welcome to
Yeah, Caitlin gave her a bit of a shout out in her speech after the peers. No doubt if she manages to convert here, she'll do likewise. We've talked about it before though in singles, Kevin. 21st is always the hardest to come by.
As you said, Brandon, you don't run out of ends, just run out of numbers. And so Jo Edwards still, she'll hang in there for sure. We know the class of this player. She's certainly the best going around the international stage.
Not the first time she's been in these kind of situations.
No, it's not. It won't be the last either.
She's won a number of 21-20 games in singles play in recent times.
So here now is Caitlin Inch on the forehand. Jo Edwards holding the shot. Caitlin Inch sitting on 20, leading 20-15. Young Broad Beach player breaking down towards the head now. Has it got the weight? Has it got the weight? Don't think so. We'll just see what the marker may indicate. Jo Edwards changing her hand to the backhand. Staying away from touching anything. The bowl of Caitlin Inches as the Edwards bowl now. Breaking down towards the head, still moving towards the jack, and that'll certainly be shot. And that's the shot as indicated by the marker. Just the one. So the blue bowl of Caitlin Inches was in fact the shot. So here now is Caitlin Inch on the backhand. No, she only needs the one shot. The New Zealand title is hers. Look at this bowl now. Is it going to get to the jack? Is it going to get to the jack? It gets to the jack. What a magnificent bowl by Caitlin Inch.
Well, the question's asked of her after two good bowls from Jo Edwards in and around the head. And Caitlin Inch finds a path through, finds a way to the jack. And that is a great bowl to put pressure on Jo Edwards. Jo Edwards well aware that Caitlin Inch only needs one. So it's obvious, can't drop any more. So I had a good long look at it before she plays her penultimate bowl of this end after that bowl from Caitlin Inch. Inch has made her way down the other end as well to
Big
assess
crowd
the
in.
situation. Yeah, great crowd in here at Papanui Club in Christchurch. Our commentary position in, they're stacked all along the club rooms here, looking out to the new Papanui Club in the background of shot where Jo Edwards is playing from.
And the great thing about that shot from Caitlin Inch was, Brendan, that Caitlin had to change her hand to match the Jo Edwards bowl, and equal to the occasion as we watch this Jo Edwards bowl, not quite going to come back. But Caitlin Inch changed her hand, knew she didn't have very much room to draw the shot, and drew virtually a dead touch up. That shows that this girl, the 24-year-old from the Oxford club, now playing in Broad Beach, is stamping her mark, not just we know in New Zealand, but certainly in the international environment as a superb player now to have well established in our blackjack side, and will be an important part going forward for the Trans-Tasman in a couple of weeks' time. and of course the World Championships later on in Broadbeach. And Brendan and I will be bringing you live the action of the Trans-Tasman from the Gold Coast. So, Caitlin Inch.
She's getting a back bowl in, I think. Getting something around the back to make sure of it.
Deliberately stayed on the wide side so not to give a shoulder for Caitlin Inch to play to. So, and of course there is only the draw for Joe Edwards. There's nothing else on. And of course after this we'll have the final of the men's singles. Andrew Kelly up against Ryan Burnett as Joe Edwards steps onto the mat. And is going to play up with weight on her forehand to try and get to the bowl. Down by 20 shots to 15. It's on its way, trying to get to the bowl of Caitlin Inch. A rub and a flick and a rub, and no, it won't be enough. And the New Zealand singles title at the Summerset Nationals has been won by Caitlin Inch by defeating Joe Edwards, a fellow blackjack, by 21 to 15 in an all-absorbing final here at the Papanui Club. Now, Brendan van Nistelrooy will be out on the green in but a moment, and we'll be talking to our new title holder. Her first, of course, New Zealand singles title. Not to be for Joe Edwards, not to be number 3. There's big hugs out there for Caitlin Inch. I know she'll be delighted with this win, and that's 2 New Zealand titles in the day for Caitlin Inch, formerly of the Oxford Club. Now, of course, based in Broadbeach, running out the winner by 21 to 15. And of course, earlier on, we saw Andrew Kelly up against Dean Elgar in the semi-final of the men's singles. And Andrew Kelly run out the winner in that particular game. Now, he will play Ryan Burnett. And earlier on, of course, we saw the men's pairs won by the Wellington combination of Raymond Martin and Raymond Martin running out the winner of the pairs over Andrew Kelly. And of course later on this afternoon, shortly in fact, we'll have the final of the men's singles of the Summerset National Singles National Bowls here at the Papanui Club, with Ryan Burnett up against Andrew Kelly in the final of the men's singles. But there's no doubt that we've seen this afternoon, we've seen Caitlin Inch stamp her authority in the game. Now the new New Zealand singles, she's overcome out there actually. As mum goes over to see her girl, her brother Jacob's there, all the families around, and a great win by this 24-year-old player. It's come through the secondary school program here in New Zealand and the age group environment. And now, as she goes towards Brendan van Nistelrooy, Brenda will have a chat with our new title holder. The winner of the Summerset National Women's Singles title is Caitlin Inch. And I pass you over to Brendan van Nistelrooy to talk. So, we're not quite with you yet. So we now go to Brendan van Nistelrooy with Caitlin Inch, the winner of the Summerset National Women's Singles.
Well, Caitlin Inch, some 6 hours ago, you had won a national title. Now you've won 2 in a day. Talk us through how you're feeling.
I don't even know how I'm feeling. I'm overwhelmed at the moment, to be honest. That last game, Joe's an awesome friend of mine and obviously a role model, so it was an honour to play her. And to get over the line, I can't believe it, really. It hasn't sunk in at all.
How did you keep your composure? You got off to a great start, but then, as Joe always does, fought her way back. She took the lead, but you found another gear too.
Yeah, I felt really calm the whole game. I don't know what it was. I knew I was the underdog going into it. Joe's, obviously so talented. So I just, put my head down and just drew a few shots and just said if I can keep doing that and see what happens. So
this just the start, no doubt. 2 national titles, but 2 on one day, and now you got your partner Ryan Burnett playing in the men's singles final. He's got to cap it off, doesn't he?
I hope so. Yeah, we might have to change our flights if he does top it off, because yeah, that would be interesting. But no, yeah, hopefully he can do it, get over the line. It was a tough game as well, but yeah, I can't believe it really. I'm shocked.
But for you, got to be a party in Oxford already, Way.
Yeah, there'll be a party in Oxford. We love a party, so it'll be good.
Well, congratulations once again. Fantastic effort. 2-time national champion on one day.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Caitlin Inch, our national champion, not only in the women's pairs but also the women's singles, beating the great Jo Edwards 21-15 in the final. Join us back here again at the Papanui Club. We will have the men's singles final. It'll be Ryan Burnett out of Scotland up against Andrew Kelly, the Cantabrian.